Yeah, yeah, yeah. Pakistan have chased down 345. Yes, you heard that right. 345 against Sri Lanka to make it 2 wins out of 2 at the 2023 ODI World Cup. It is the highest successful run chase in ODI World Cup history. To discuss that clash and that chase in particular, we are joined by our cricket expert Dav Whatmore. Dav, we have to start with Pakistan's chase. They're losing 2 early wickets, but still managing to chase down 345 with ease in the end. I mean, that's what champion teams are made of.
Yeah. Look, it was just a wonderful game of cricket, to be honest with you. At the halfway mark, they had a big total to get, and I remember thinking, the wicket's good. The Sri Lankan bowling attack, okay, with Thikshana has improved, but the rest of them a little bit, not quite there yet. and maybe with the artificial lights, the surface might be slightly better.
So you're saying it was a better surface to bat on in the second innings?
Well, I thought it was okay. Yeah, it was good. Not the seeing light, of course.
Yeah.
But then they lost those couple of early wickets. Babar Azam again failed to trouble the scorers, and the other opener, Imam ul Haq, didn't have a great game. Took a really good catch at the end, but didn't have a great game. And 2 wickets down. But the way in which this boy, Mohammad Rizwan, and Shafique, who was given the opportunity, grabbed it with both hands, and they stitched up a magnificent partnership to engineer a 345-run chase.
Okay, we have to speak a little more about Mohammad Rizwan. He's almost a perfect player to come into the innings after you lose those 2 early wickets, because he just knows how to sort of navigate through that chase.
He's he's not a player, as we all see, to come and muscle the ball early.
Yeah,
he's a player that is very busy. He's very aggressive at it. He's just very quick between wickets. And after a little bit of time, then he can play and he hit a boundary, both sides of the wicket, and it was just a joy to watch. And he was under a bit of distress, I have to say.
He had cramps.
Cramps is not an easy thing to work, but I'm a little bit amazed how he managed to continue on with it. After a while I thought, oh, maybe the cramps are going away, but something in the tablet he took, I think.
Yeah. I like the word you used to describe him. You always seem to call him a busy player. So what
busy
exactly
bee.
does he mean?
Busy bee. He's always like fidgety in that.
Yeah.
But he's got, he backs it up with skill, and again, footwork. Good timing based on good footwork, and there's a lot to be said about that.
Even though he had cramps, he was running between the wickets, and he wasn't slow.
No, for a little while he looked like he was sort of on one and a half legs, but he had the presence of mind to stick at it and to be tough and keep it going. And he was absolutely rewarded with a wonderful 130 odd not out, and saw the job home. That's the difference. A lot of guys will go part of the way, nearly to the end, get out. And you saw that with Shafique. He didn't mean to get out, but sadly he did. 1 or 2 others get to 100, get out. This guy saw the job through, and that's been a wonderful asset for him.
Yeah, let's talk about Shafique there. He was making his first appearance at the tournament, and as you said, grabbed the opportunity with both hands. Is that the end of Fakhar Zaman's spell in the Pakistan 11?
Well, his only way to come back now is Imam al-Haq, being pushed aside. But let's just spend a couple of minutes with this boy.
Yep.
He was given an opportunity, and his ability to, again, his temperament and his concentration span. Not easy. It's still hot out there. He has to run. He has to hit. But after he got a start, some of the shots he played was like Scud bloody rockets going through the infield and the outfield. And very impressive with his strike rate, over 100, 109, nearly 110.
Yeah.
And perhaps a little bit unlucky to get out for 100. A good catch.
Yeah.
A really good catch to get him out. And that easily could have gone for 4 as well. But, hats off to Abdullah Shafique. And that was a decision that some of us was sort of discussing, and lots of others would too. Is it right for Pakistan to change the opening partnership? But the decision was made, and at the end of the day, that decision proved to be correct.
Well, obviously, Pakistan were absolutely superb in their chase, but we also have to talk about Sri Lanka and their bowling. Where do you think they fell short?
Well, I just don't know they had enough good deliveries. But, having said that, it is a very difficult job to contain. Once there's momentum goes against you, particularly on a surface that was, there was hardly any spin in that second half. Thikshana clearly was the one that troubled the batsman. He still went for a few, but at least he got the batsman to play and miss. So, they're clearly missing Hasaranga, and they're clearly missing Dushmantha Chamira, who's got, fairly good pace as well. But they have to go with what they got. I like Madhushankar. I think he's got a real future. He's nippy, he's lefty, and he's okay. Rajitha missed out today.
Yeah.
He can bat a little bit, so I don't know whether he may come back in. But what my concern is, where does Sri Lanka go from here?
Yeah.
They get 340 odd runs and they can't win it. And I really have concerns. I fear for the rest of the tournament now for the Sri Lankan cricket team.
Do you think mentally these 2 losses will take a toll on the players? As a coach, what do you tell them? If you're the Sri Lanka coach, it's a long tournament, so what do you tell them going forward?
I have to think of something to pick them up. The first game, there's a record score hit against them. Okay, we know the conditions were suitable for the batting. Difficult job, good batsman, absolute road. Then they come here and they make a big effort to get to 340, and they have to protect that. And more times than not, you achieve it. You protect, a score of 340, but not today. So gee, it's going to be really going to take some time, I think, to get over this. Despite whatever words of comfort or whatever is coming from the support staff, friends and family, it's a hell of a kick in the guts.
But as you said, there were positives in this game as well, especially in their batting.
Yes.
Kusal Mendes scored that brilliant century, and of course Sadira Samar Wickrama also scored a century. So I mean, there are positives to take, but that has been reduced to a side note.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure both of those guys would trade their centuries for a win.
Yeah.
I'm sure they'd say that. But you're right. We need to look at the big picture, and the big picture contains somebody had to have done well to get to 340, and those 2 guys batted beautifully. Particularly, I think, Sadira Samaravikrama getting his debut 100.
Yeah.
He looked like a player who's had hundreds before. With
mature innings.
Yeah, he batted with maturity and a good temperament, and he was able to to last the distance. For a guy who hasn't got runs, normally they get to a point and they get out. I've done enough, and they get out. But this guy was really good, and I'm very pleased for him.
Okay, let's talk about Pakistan now. 2 wins out of 2 And the next clash, their next clash is, of course,
the big one
against India, the big one. Do you think they'll be feeling quietly confident?
Well, this win will give them the confidence that they need, to get into that big clash. They can have a bit of a rest now, and then travel to Ahmedabad, where they play their next game. But playing India, having lost this game, would have been a bit tough for them. At least now they got 2 points. They got 2 wins.
Yeah.
So most of us agree that it's difficult to go through the whole tournament against and win every game, because there are a lot of good opponents. Yeah. So at least now they've got 2, and if they happen to lose one next game, well then you lose. As simple as that. But you have to continue on and continue to accumulate points.
Have you learned anything new about Pakistan in these 2 matches that you've seen them?
I think what's pleasing is their ability to fight, and Pakistan historically would prefer to get runs on the board and protect it. 2
contrasting victories.
Yeah, and to chase a big score is a wonderful thing. It gives you a bit of confidence. Their fast bowlers, I'm hearing commentators be critical with their fast bowlers, but I'm a little bit sympathetic to that. Like good pitches and 2 good batsmen going, it is not that easy. The margin of error is very small. So one guy still got Hassan Ali, right? He came in and he got 4 wickets in this particular match. He got selected to come in. And, he did a good job. Haris Rauf has got extreme pace. He'll worry. The guy that's a little bit down on form was Shane Shah Afridi, the bowler who
haven't
we
seen
felt...
the best of him yet.
Yeah, well, the bowler we felt might be, the spearhead and the one, taking a few more wickets and putting pressure on the opposition. He can still come into the game. It's very important to peak at the right time. Getting all your wickets now and missing out later may be not the way to go, provided your team's winning, which they're doing. So, we all know how good he is, and I'm sure he'll, at some point, turn the corner and start to be a menace to the opposing batsmen.
Well, we also have to talk about Babar Azam. Unfortunately, in these 2 matches, he hasn't quite been at it. What do you think, will be going through his head? Of course, he'll be happy that the team has won, but Azam in these 2 matches hasn't fired. And, some pressure on him?
Yes, absolutely. And that pressure's way, is directly on his shoulders now. 2 games and he's missed out. Yeah. And being the captain as well, we've seen the effect it had on the Sri Lankan captain, Dasun Shanaka. He went through quite a few games.
Patch,
Quite a few games, and not making a contribution. Babar Azam is heading in that direction. I don't think it'll be that bad, but he really needs to get some runs sooner or later, sooner than later, and particularly with a big match coming, it'd be a good time to do it. But he's a little bit out of nick.
Okay, it's time for our segment No More with Whatmore. Have you been enjoying these segments?
K-N-O-W. I've been waiting for. It's not N-O, right? It's K-N-O-W.
Yeah. We have to make. Yeah, we made that clear. Don't worry about it.
Right. Yeah, okay.
Okay. Ahmed says, don't underestimate this Pakistan team. Remember, Pakistan can surprise any team in the World Cup, and Ahmed certainly has them down as proper contenders for the title. Yeah.
Well, on this performance today. They'll take a lot of confidence from chasing a score like that, and I agree with him to a point. Like when your bowlers aren't making a big impression yet, when they start to do that as well, then they could be a real handful. Yeah, but again, 2 games. Just wait a couple more games, and we'll make a bit more.
Okay, I have an interesting one for you here, Dav. Pandu Raj asks, will Pakistan fans start to rate Rizwan higher than Babar Azam after this knock? Ooh.
Yeah, look, I'm a big Rizwan fan, right? And I mean, I like Babar Azam as well, but I just feel this guy, day in, day out, against all levels of opposition, he's there when the whips are cracking. You know,
Yeah.
he contributes. He
Match
fights. Yeah, he fights really hard against weaker opposition, against really good opposition. There are some who are world beaters against teams that aren't quite so good, and then when they come and they confront the real top teams with a really good bowling attack, sometimes they go missing. Sometimes they don't even, make it to the team. They don't travel on tour bilaterals. That's happened. I've noticed happened to a few players around the world. This fella here, he doesn't. He confronts a challenge
Takes
head
on
on.
the battle head on.
He's up for the challenge. It doesn't necessarily mean he'll succeed every time, but his attitude is what sets him apart. And I know that his contemporary, his teammates, they really appreciate that. They respect him for that. And that's an absolute wonderful trait to have.
Okay, there's another Pakistan selection-related question we have. Usmasni asks, would you drop Imam for the next match?
I'd be seriously considering that.
It.
Yeah, I feel the Pakistan team could be strengthened, with a Fakhar Rahman, in a bit more form. He's no slouch in the field, and being a left-hander as well, you get a lefty and a righty combination. Well, so is Imam ul-Haq, I guess. But I think they could be strengthened if this guy was a little bit more, had a bit more form under his belt. And it could happen. It could happen, fairly soon.
Yeah, well, we have a Sri Lanka question as well. Just give me a second. Yes.
They'd be upset, wouldn't they?
Whatmore says, time to replace Patirana. Bring in Lahiru. We can't give 10 plus wides every game. He should improve. He is young, but time to give another bowler a chance. Well, Whatmore obviously is frustrated with the bowling performance.
Fair. I think that's a fair comment.
Yeah.
I've seen him now in 2 games, and what he did with the Chennai Super Kings was terrific, no problem. This is a bit of a longer game now, and maybe he's not the answer to the problems that you have in the middle of the overs and also at the end. So they need to give some thought, the selectors will need to give some thought on whoever comes in, where they're going to bowl. Because you still need somebody who's able to, fulfil that difficult role towards the end of the game, as you do at the start. Patirana doesn't bowl too much at the start, does he? So, the person taking his place could very well, bowl more in that first 10 overs, which means Thikshana could be held back a little bit further. At the moment, he's asked to, to get rid of 4, maybe 3 or 4 overs in the first 10. So he's restricted to whatever's left towards the other 40 overs that's left in the game. So that's a fair comment. I agree with that, and certainly would be discussed, I feel.
Okay, as a follow-up to that comment, we have another comment, and guess who is it about? It's about MS Dhoni. So Abhishek says, this is what makes MS Dhoni different. Patirana and Thikshana looked so dangerous when they are spoon-fed, well, that's a harsh term, by Dhoni from behind the stumps for Chennai Super Kings. Otherwise, this Abhishek believes that Patirana would not have made it to the World Cup squad if it weren't for his performances in the Chennai. That's a bit harsh, but it just shows you how important the captain is. Do you think they're lacking leadership at Sri Lanka?
No, I think it's a bit harsh.
Yeah.
They're 2 completely different formats.
Yeah.
The intensity is a lot more evident in the 20-over game. In a 50-over game, you're exposed a little bit longer. So I have to be honest and say I'm a little unsure of his recent history in the 50-over game, Patirana.
Yeah.
But on the evidence that I've seen now, I think there's real reason for serious discussion about maybe making a change.
Okay, Dav, final question. Now we've seen some extremely high-scoring matches in the tournament so far. In fact, today there were 500s. 500s today, 5 centuries we saw. And what really is, and the wickets, we have a fair idea about how the wickets are going to behave. So,
unless it's Chennai.
Yeah. So what is a winning total? I mean, we've seen teams score 400, Sri Lanka obviously not winning a game after scoring 344. So is that the template going forward for the tournament?
Well, I think what it says is, getting 300 or more is chaseable, but it's also relates to how good your seam attack is, or your bowling attack. If you've got a reasonably good bowling attack, you've got a better chance of protecting a total like that, So good conditions for chasing, good batsmen, the wicket is good, there's not going to be any change from up above. I always knew it was going to be a good finish, a close finish, because of those reasons. Good batsman, not the greatest attack, big score to chase, and the wicket is going to be okay. So I knew, it'll go to the wire. But I think the quality of the attack that you have in your team will also play a major part in determining whether you win or lose.
Okay, Dav, I have to continue now, and we have to talk about that clash between India and Pakistan. Of course, that's on Saturday. Now, India are playing tomorrow, that's Afghanistan in Delhi.
Yep.
Now, they'll be looking to get some proper runs on the board in Delhi. As we saw, South Africa made over 400.
Yeah.
What total do you think India will be looking at if they bat first?
Well, I tell you, I wouldn't put it past a similar total. Seriously, I think on what I've seen there, small outfield, small boundary distance, fast outfield, a pitch that I believe has been relayed, and it's a beauty now, with the sort of batting power that the Indians have, I honestly wouldn't put it past, another 400.
400?
Yeah, I do, I really do. But anything over 300 is going to be difficult for the Afghanistanis.
Yeah.
But we're looking at, the question was, do you think India can come close to that record total? I think they can. Seriously, I do.
Do you think there'll be any changes to India's 11?
Yes, I do. I think they'll go for another fast bowler.
Yeah.
Shardul Thakur, I think, will come in instead of Ravichandran Ashwin, which is no reflection on Ashwin's ability as a bowler. I really think is a beauty. But conditions what they are there, I think they'll make that change. The other one is Ishan Kishan.
Yeah, in fact, I'll just interrupt you there. Our sports editor, Digvijay Singh Deo, was at the Arun Jaitley Stadium today, and he saw Ishan Kishan, and he didn't look too comfortable. And of course, he got out against Australia by playing a poor shot. Is that a concern for India?
Well, he's batting. If you're batting for, it was a concern that in the match competition, horrible shot. But if he's not taking it seriously in the nets, if he's a bit airy-fairy and just approaching a net session as a bit of a chore, which can be sometimes, but you've got to, what you do in the nets, what you do at practice, generally reflects what happens in competition. So if you're one that doesn't take it seriously, not just Ishan Kishan or anybody, it can happen to anyone. If you're not training properly, you're more than likely not going to do it in the game. So, I mean, Diggy was there, he had a look. Maybe, his opinion was that guy perhaps wasn't taking it seriously. It might reflect in another change in selection. If that's the case, then Sky gets a go, right? Surya Kumar Yadav.
I think you also said that Sky was very impressive.
And then you got to jig the order because young Shubman Gill sadly is still ill.
Yeah.
So you may have to up KL Rahul. He's no stranger to opening.
Yeah, I just want to ask you a question. How do you think India approach this game? Do they look at it as a, say, warm-up game for the Pakistan clash, or do they play their best 11 for this particular match against Afghanistan, or rather they play the 11 they're going to face against Pakistan? What would you do as a coach?
Definitely, this is a fair income game. Every World Cup game you go to win. And if they play to their absolute potential, there's no reason why they can't win nearly 100% of it. So no, I don't think so. I think you can manage certain players. That's not to say you have to keep the same team all the time. You need to manage certain players and also select according to the conditions. But other than that, no way. You got to go out there and buddy, put the foot on the pedal, and you get an advantage and you hammer that. You win as big as you can.
Okay, Dav, thank you for all your insight as always on this match. Obviously, we will be previewing and reviewing all the other matches at the World Cup, including that big clash between India and Pakistan on Saturday and India's clash against Afghanistan tomorrow. Keep watching WION World of Cricket.